Good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And ladies and gentlemen, my God, do we have a salvo of news to talk about today to open up the show. I mean, my goodness, we got a little bit of an update from TheVerge.com and, of course, Tom Warren, who is the beat writer over there regarding the ABK deal. It is, folks, there are people running with this, that it's an issue and that the EU is somehow going to hold us up. Oh, folks, I'm here to tell you that it's not, in fact, the case at all. We will spend a few minutes just breaking down exactly what was said in this very short article, and it is expected. We also have, I would call this breaking news, folks. I know that there's a lot of talk of January 25th, which is in a you know what's today, the 16th, so 9 days from now, we're going to get the big Microsoft event for the first of the year. But we have information, folks, that people are posting like left, right, and center on the socials that a box in China for the Xbox Series X has been discovered with, guess what, folks? Starfield marketing. And we have another Starfield story coming from a very prominent, and I think Crazy Lou Gaming will know exactly what I'm talking about. One Extras. He has an incredible, he's a Spanish YouTuber. Obviously, I've talked about him before. I'm trying to get him on the show. The guy is brilliant. I really like his stuff. I don't understand Spanish all the way, but I do, for the most part, understand what he's saying when I listen to his show. And I'm trying to get him on. He reported that from a source very close to the situation, that Starfield is in fact going to have, Crazy Lou Gaming, a commercial, a gameplay commercial at the Super Bowl. Holy S if that happens, because, well, what bigger audience than the, I don't know, 200 plus million people that watch the Super Bowl each and every year are going to check out Starfield. And you know what? Bethesda knows how to build a trailer. But let's start with the introductions. Crazy Lou Gaming, how the hell are you, brother? Welcome.
Oh, man, I'm doing fantastic with all this cool, awesome news you're dropping by. I mean, look at that beautiful box with Starfield behind it, man. I'm super excited, man, just seeing all that cool stuff that is just dropping by, all these games, all this talk, ecstasies, just talk about that Super Bowl commercial. Oh, my God, I just can't wait to get down into it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Crazy Lou, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Folks, if you're wondering what game this is one of the games that has been forgotten by many, Proteus, on the Xbox Series X. This is going to be in my top 10 games of the year. What a masterpiece. In Xbox Game Pass, worth every hour that I played it. We got 2+ hours of footage that's going to run us through the 90+ minute show that we have today. But Web Dave, brother, today's your day off and you're here hanging out with us. Welcome, brother. How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. Feeling really, 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 really good. There is no new show today, but there will be a show up next Monday, so never fear. More are coming, and more are in the works. But yeah, it's man, I'm so excited for what you've sleuthed and uncovered and dropped in the DM today, and we're going to be talking some good stuff today. This is an exciting show. Everybody, stay tuned.
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot to get into. We're going to be talking about the Gears Unreal Engine 5 trilogy potentially being made as we speak, or has been worked on for a couple of years. We have a ton of Xbox stories, and that's just the start of the week, folks. Remember, I'm streaming 5 days a week, 5 different shows, 5 different panels, all amazing content. And yes, I will put myself on that pedestal. We do spend a lot of time, like even over the weekend, as you've noticed. We have stepped up the game in our thumbnails. Things are now animated. We're spending a lot of time on finding the correct way of putting these things together, and I'm having a blast doing it. Again, it's something new. It's something we want to do to a better engagement, if you will, with the community. So let me know if you are enjoying the new animated thumbnails that I've been dropping the last 2 weeks. Again, this does take some time to build these things, but I got to be honest with you folks, I'm having a blast doing it. And last and no way least, one of the best racing channels on YouTube to get into is Fuzzy Belvedere's. What's going on, brother? How are you feeling? And did you race through traffic to get here on time?
I'm doing great, man. Yes, a little bit of a side note. I've been looking at some of the auctions in the Forza Horizon 5 auction house and stuff like that. A few people out there were looking for the Oreos car, and I know there's a few of them on eBay, and trying to see if people are putting them in the auction house, and it looks like they are. And I guess they're either being snatched up really quick or being pulled down really quick, because it seems like it keeps on resetting. But it's with the that contest thing that they're doing right now with the special skin and stuff like that. But man,
I don't know why Microsoft doesn't just add it for everyone. I'm sorry. I like contests, folks, but just add it for everyone so we don't have to. The minute I hear eBay, I get grossed out, because someone's gonna charge $50 for a skin that they got for free. And I understand about making money, folks. I understand, we have to make money in this world when eggs are $9, right? Like it's a thing, but just when you look, all I'm saying is this: I don't work for marketing, folks. I wish I did. And if they handed me the keys to the kingdom, trust me, you would get marketing like you've never seen before, even though I don't have a marketing degree. I'll say that. But I say, if you are abreast in a situation like that, and you start to see getting gross and out of hand, you know what you do? You just put the nix on the contest, and you say, you know what, this is for everybody, so everyone can drive an Oreo car. Because at this point, I understand about you being the guy that got it and you want to show it off, and that's awesome. But when you start to see the grossness of people charging $50 for a skin, that's when you got to draw the line. You got to say, you know what, we're just going to offer it to everyone for the big old price of free. But listen, it's great to have you here.
There's a $50 Oreo car.
He's saying that
there's some on eBay that are going. They start as low as $5, but the sky's the limit. It's basically hard
people
to get.
People pay $100 for a skin. Trust me, I know.
For an Oreo cookie car, okay, nice.
I mean, listen, I'm fine with the cars that I have. I have a Star Wars one that I'm driving right now that I bought off the auction house, and it was dope. And one of my favorite skins. So there you go.
Hey, Boom.
Yes,
Boom.
sir.
I just want to say, man, because I know you talked about this the other day on your show. A lot of people don't know that, and are excited that this is coming. That you have your store is going to be updated, right, with some new shirts and merch.
Yes, I am
coming,
finally. Thank you, Dave. We are finally launching an official merch store. It's going to be on the YouTube channel. We're also going to have another place. When the site is set up for you guys and gals, if you want to buy any of the Xbox gear. Right now, currently, I did show off the Mr. BoomStick one. That was designed by a good friend of the show. And right now, what we're doing is we're trying to build our. I think we're going to start off with 5 different designs, and right now we have one. And the other 4 are currently being designed by Ben Kenobi of Twitter. And obviously, when they're ready, because I've seen one of them. One of them is dope. I mean, it's so freaking good. When it's ready, I will obviously send that to everybody, and we'll put it out there into the ether. But yeah, that's coming first quarter of the year. I can't say specifically it's going to be ready next month. I don't know, but we will have that information for you. So, Dave, thanks so much for reminding me, because I would forget. There's just so much going on. But listen, folks, let's get into what has sent a lot of people into concern for Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Now, this was reported 2 hours ago. This was, of course, brought to our attention by a beat writer of The Verge, which, let me just get his information right here. Tom Warren. Tom is a good friend of the community. Always puts out great information, and it's a very simple read, folks. But it simply says this: Microsoft's Activision deal faces EU scrutiny. Microsoft is reportedly likely to face objections from the European Commission to its $68.7 billion deal to acquire Activision, according to Reuters. They're reporting that the European Commission is prepping a statement of objections to the deal, which will be sent to Microsoft in the coming weeks. Microsoft may be forced to offer more concessions to the EU after it tried to ease concerns with the 10-year deal for Call of Duty to Sony and agreement with Nintendo. Now, the reason why this is not a concern, folks, is because this is their findings, right? Now, this is their objections. I don't know how many objections they're going to be. We'll know by April 11th, which is in a couple of months. When those, we do know, and I do have a quote here from Microsoft, that they are currently working with both the CMA and EU regulators to quell any concerns of the deal. They have already offered up concessions. They are willing to offer more. What more concessions do they have to offer? I honestly don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I can simply say that this is just a report that the EU Commission has found some things in this deal that they have concerns with. Okay? That was to be expected. They had concerns in their phase 1, and Microsoft addressed them. There are going to be concerns in their phase 2 findings. Microsoft is then going to address those, and they're going to give concessions where concessions are needed to get the deal done. That's why that's why you're starting to see, like, even the CMA put an extension, because right now they're all working on the logistics. This is a $70 billion deal, or at least a near $70 billion deal. These kind of snags are expected. Like I've said before, and I will stand on this square, and it's not from an Xbox point of view. This is from a consumer's point of view, folks. There is literally nothing wrong with the deal when you look at how the market itself has responded. And that means Microsoft's peers, the EAs, the Take-Twos, the Capcoms, the Nintendos. There's only been a few pushbacks, Sony being the big one. We heard Apple had a big problem, somewhat of a problem with it. Google had somewhat of a problem with it. And when you're talking about these two, they own a duopoly in that region, so it's ridiculous to even suggest. The deal is going to go through. Microsoft is going to offer up all the concessions that they need to do to get it done, and it's nothing to be concerned. Dave, I want to go to you first. You're our money guy.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this report from Reuters, or Rudders, whatever the hell it's called? I always get it wrong.
Reuters. Yep.
Yeah. Is there room for concern, or is this standard fare?
In my opinion, I believe, I mean, it's the next step.
Yes.
But it's a step to getting toward the finish line, and that's the way people need to really look at it. It's because everything, all the stuff that's, this is not another roadblock, another, oh, we didn't expect this. This is part of the process, people. It is the way it's going to be, and it's not slowing things down. This is just going to happen. Like the other day when people were talking about some of the other entities that were maybe causing some concern or raising some concerns, like Nvidia and Google. Those concerns have been out there and for a while. Actually, it's just they've just kind of re-reported on. It's just part of it, people. It's the way it's going to be. And the only thing that kind of sucks is there's some sites and some places, in some fanboy places, that are like, throwing it up that like, see, it's going to stop. This is all over, into Microsoft, and the deal is done. And
boo, Microsoft.
And Starfield's going to be a PlayStation exclusive next year. I'm like, what? Yeah. So it's crazy talk, right? Crazy Lou. Anyway, sorry. But no, seriously, it really is just part of the process. It's a step by step, and we are getting closer. This deal is so much closer to being finished. That's all I can say is that I know that this deal will be finished to the point to where they can actually have their meeting. I will say by August that they will have a press conference probably well before then, but as late as August, to have a sit down and be like, welcome to the family. It's coming, folks, and hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be sooner than that, but by August, this is going to be behind us.
Yeah, we'll be talking about other acquisitions at this point. Like I said, folks, it is like I said, it is a big deal. There are a lot of questions. There are a lot of I's that need to be dotted, and a lot of T's that need to be crossed. Crazy Lou, let's go to you, brother. Again, if you look at what I dropped into the DM this morning, and everyone's reporting on it, and shout out to Tom Warren for being one of the first big entities to drop this information. I appreciate it. I don't think there's room for concern here, to be honest. Like I said, if you just read what it's saying, we all expected that the phase 2 was going to find some things that needed to be addressed. And Microsoft has already been well ahead of this and said, hey, listen, we're going to do this, this, and this. The EU Commission will come back and say, okay, we accept those. We will, but we're looking at these, and Microsoft will come back and say, okay, can we meet halfway over here? And by the time it's all done, it'll be done. What are your thoughts on this, Crazy Lou?
I'll be honest with you. At first, when it sounds like, oh no, not anymore FTC stuff. But then when you guys started to explain to me, and this is like the next phase, I'm actually really happy because, again,
well, it's movement.
It's moving, yeah, it's moving along, and I think everything will be nice and clear because if there's something that they have a doubt about, I know Microsoft will have a response for that, and so I think these guys just won't stop it. I think they won't find a way to stop it because Microsoft has responded to everything that they've been throwing out there. Microsoft has always come back with something, to give to them. So yeah, I'm super happy that it keeps on moving, and I just really, like I said again, I hope it closes soon. It gets done with. Because, hey, I just love how these websites are saying, oh, it's going to be doomed. I'm going to be honest with you, though. If it gets doomed, we're going to have a lot to talk about because Microsoft's got $70 billion to spend. And you guys
I'll put it to this way. Look.
Yeah.
The worst case scenario is it doesn't get done, right? And that would be a shame. That would be a shame for a multitude of reasons. What would probably have to happen is ABK would probably be sold off piecemeal, and then Microsoft, it would be a bidding war. No one's going to outbid Microsoft. They're just not going to do that. And it would come down to that. Again, it's look, only time is going to tell, folks. As we have seen, there has been opposition towards the deal. But again, there are two important key factors here, and I want to bring Fuzzy in before we move on to the next topic. And this one, again, I'm a little soured on it because I'm tired of talking about it, folks. I just want it to be done. I want to get back into gaming, which we're going to get into, and we have a lot to talk about today. But I did want to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Fuzzy, look, at the end of the day, we have talked about this to death. Mm-hmm. The deal is a big deal. It really is. It's a big deal, biggest deal in gaming history. Microsoft is one of the biggest companies with enough money to do said deal. From what you have read and it was posted, do you have any concerns, or is like Dave and Crazy Lou and I believe this is just a standard fare for a deal this big?
I would say it's a little bit of standard fare and some, I wouldn't say grandstanding, but in a way
pandering maybe.
Well, pandering, and I think the big thing is this gives the EU the opportunity to make it look like they're earning their pay type of thing. Yeah. I mean, if you allow Microsoft to come in there and say, hey, this is what we're willing to bend the knee on, and you just go along with that, then that just means you cater to the actual big company. But if you come in and say, wait, before you tell us what you're going to want to do, here's what we would like for you to do. And a lot of that stuff is going to overlap already. I mean, Microsoft is well aware of what they're concerned about. So if they come out first and say, hey, we want you to do this, this, and this, then people can look back at the deal and it's like, hey, they demanded Microsoft do this and they got them to bend the knee. So it makes them look like the good guys or the heroes for the gamers in that area. So I'm not as concerned. I just wish this timeline was a little bit expedited to some extent. Mm-hmm. I really wish that this was something that they could announce ahead of like E3 or during E3, which
they could cool. Very well. I mean, the timeline does potentially. I mean, look, at the end of the day, to be able to walk up on stage and announce all of these incredible games that are coming out in the second half of the year, right? And the first half of 24, that you're going to blow our minds, right? There's going to be games that we didn't know that they were working on. Like right now, we know a lot of the playbook for Microsoft, but there's a lot we don't know about for Xbox, right? Mm-hmm. If you can add the cherry on top of this Banana Boat Sunday, hey, we closed ABK, that would be something. That would be something for the record books.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to see as far as that timeline, all the plans align on that type of deal. But I think at this point, the majority of us gamers should just be looking forward to this deal closing, because if it doesn't close, I can only imagine the fallout as far as like
well, Sony's going to find
studio
themselves in big
closings.
trouble with Activision, because I'm going to tell you this right now.
Okay.
There is a world, folks, and again, I'm not stoking the fires for console war shenanigans. I'm not trying to be someone that's concerned about the deal. I am going to say that there is a world, right, where because of Sony's shenanigans, this deal gets blocked. Microsoft has the money, has the funding, and has the relationship to turn around and spend a significant amount of millions of dollars to keep Call of Duty exclusive. Think about that for a second. This deal folds, and all of the investors that wanted this deal to go through are now sitting on their thumbs, like, oh, what do we do? Microsoft could turn around and drop the bag. Forget marketing rights. They could logistically buy the exclusivity rights of Call of Duty, and then PlayStation doesn't get it, and then what happens? Is someone from the EU going to say, "Oh, Activision, you can't do that"? No, they can do whatever they want. It's their business.
Right.
So I'm just saying that there's certainly more concern for other things to happen. But like I said, ultimately, Fuzzy, I think the deal that gets through. Like you, I'm frustrated. I kind of just want it to be done.
Hey, Boom.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say on that point too, and Lou made the point too that like they have $70 million to spend. In addition to the $70 million that they're putting up right now, billion. You're right, B. that I need more coffee. That they have an additional $90 billion cash on hand.
Yes, that is correct.
To spend. So
$160 billion in cash. Think about that for a second, folks. It's ridiculous.
So you can wreak havoc in an ecosystem pretty fast if you don't have to, because if buying a game right straight out or buying these exclusive rights, that's not stockholder compliant. In other words, there's no quote unquote deal or sale that has to be regulated. Those things can just plow right on through, and Microsoft, if they wanted to be like, you know what, quote unquote butthurt if the deal doesn't go through, they can throw a little tantrum and be like, okay, you want to play rough? Let's play rough.
Yeah, no, it's true. It is absolutely true. And that's the thing. Check it out. Way Johnson won. What's going on, brother? Thanks so much for being here. He says Activision posted record-breaking numbers on PlayStation. Highly doubt there will be any fallout if the deal doesn't go through. Yeah, see, dude, I disagree. I think you are looking at this from a lens that I don't agree with. There will be tremendous fallout. I understand about the record-breaking monies, but that does not necessarily mean that Activision is going to come crawling back to PlayStation to give them marketing rights or even to lock up a deal. This is going to go Microsoft's way, one way or the other. And again, we don't have to agree or disagree on it. It's just that I think it's just facts. But listen, I appreciate you being here, brother, and dropping the comment in there. Pixelbit G, good friend of the program. Welcome, brother. He says $5 billion would buy 10 years of exclusivity. There will be fallout. Yeah, I agree. I think anyone that suggests that somehow because of the monies, because think about this for a second. And again, I want to spend too much time on this deal. We have a lot to get into, but if you want to turn the head of the horse, right? You want to turn him left or you want to turn him right, you pull back on the reins. To suggest that if Microsoft locked up Call of Duty to make a console exclusive, that the PlayStation gamers wouldn't move where Microsoft pulled the reins, you're out of your mind. You're just being ridiculous. They would absolutely move. And then what does Sony do? They can't do anything. They don't have the money like that. So again, I don't think that's going to be the case. We got to talk about Starfield. We have two massive Starfield stories to get into. First and foremost, and I got to give credit where credit is due, because I want to make sure. Okay, let's see. Let me see where it is. Let me find it in the show notes here, because I want to give the proper credit. This was posted. Now, again, I'm only saying where I saw it first. So I have to give him credit where credit is due. His name is Peter Ovo. On Twitter, it's at Peter Ovo 5. He posted a picture of the new box, the new advertising box for the Xbox Series X. This came from the way of China, which I'm assuming is where the boxes are being made. And he simply wrote, new Xbox Series X boxes have Starfield art on the back of them. I didn't see the front of them. I've only seen the back part. It says Power Your Dreams, and it has the entire Starfield logo. He simply writes, I think Starfield is coming soon. And if this does not quell your thirst for when this the biggest game of 2023 is releasing, and you're not on the same page as all of us here, where we think 3/23/23 is when it's releasing, I don't know what else to tell you. I want to go first to Fuzzy on this. Fuzzy, look, we are in January still.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, about a month away, right?
Yeah.
About a month away. We got a Super Bowl story we're going to talk about in the second half. We're going to transition into, but you have to admit, there's literally zero, folks, big old zero, that Microsoft is not going to have this game ready, and it's not going to be the opening salvo of the year. I am telling you, this is more evidence that this is in fact happening. What are your thoughts for this?
Well, the box art thing is a huge deal in comparison as far as like a timeline. Although people could say, well, they had Halo on the box for the original launch, and that was like a last minute cancel, which if anything, if they did the artwork on the box for, Starfield back in November, then maybe this would hold a little less weight. But considering the current box, because I had an issue with my first Xbox. I mean, it works, but it doesn't seem to work on certain games. It'll shut down. So my wife, God bless her heart, bought me a new Xbox Series X. And on that one, it has Forza Horizon 5, which they're actually doing the bundle right now for them, but it has the artwork on the box. So having Starfield on the box, I would have to believe there's got to be something around the corner, because considering I didn't start seeing the Horizon 5 stuff as far as artwork on the box until I would say November-ish of last year, and they're starting to do the bundles now. I would say that Starfield is probably within the 3-month range, considering the artwork. They want to start ramping up things, and it's like we always talk about how marketing could use a few nudges and pushes in a certain direction. And we got the one rumor for next month, but the big thing is you could tell they're starting to ramp things up. They've already been transparent as far as like with the show at the end of this month that there's going to be a dedicated show to Starfield. And what better way, especially like if it was going to come at the second half of the year, would you really bother telling people about a show that's like 6 months out as opposed to just saying see it at E3? I mean, it seems like I would say sometime between March and May seems like the window that they're targeting. I mean, you got the artwork on the box, you got the dedicated show coming up. You got a potential commercial coming soon type of thing. I mean, all the planets are aligning. Let's just say that this thing has got to be, sooner rather than later, because it wouldn't make sense to do all of this, 6 months to 8 months in advance.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's around the corner, folks. Goat Reviews. What's up, brother? Welcome to the program. He asks in the chat, do you think Starfield is 30 frames per second only? Look, here's the thing, folks. I understand that there is a tremendous concern for, is there going to be a performance mode? I mean, 60 frames versus, a 30 frames that gives you all the bells and whistles. I honestly don't know. I know that I've had people in the chat. Hey, Boom, tell you right now, if this game is 30 frames, I'm not playing. Listen, folks, good on you. If you want to dig your heels in the sand and you want to show your distaste for 30 frames and you don't play, okay, I'm not going to fight you on it. That's your decision. For me personally, I could give a flying F. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care. I'm playing Gotham Knights in 30 frames right now. I've been playing it for the entire weekend. I have 1,000 games I could be playing, but I'm close to beating it. I want to finish it. I absolutely loved every second. and it's in 30 frames, and I could care less. It did not bother me one iota. Now, does that make me a dumb gamer? Maybe. I don't know. It's just no big deal for me personally. I think the size of this game is indicative of maybe a smaller FPS, but then again, I'm not a designer. I don't know. Will I have a problem with 30 frames? I will not. Will some other people will? Sure. Will it have a performance mode? Potentially. I honestly don't know, but I'm assuming that at this event we're going to learn exactly what the frame rate is going to be. And if you're disappointed by 30 versus 60, I can't help you with that. That's a you thing. That's not a problem that I'm worried about, because I will play in 30 frames and enjoy it just as much. But that's just me. Again, I don't get hung up with the whole I needed 120 frames or bust. Some people need that. And if that is the case for you, and you have a rocking a PC that can handle such a thing, like Mrs. BoomStick, who's rocking a 3080 right now, she could probably play in 60 frames, and you play on PC. For me, I'm okay with it. But Web Dave, let's get your opinion on this, brother. This is good news for anyone. Well, first of all, it's good news for all of us, because now I think it's set in stone that we're going to get Starfield as the opening salvo. Again, when you start to hear a big event like the Super Bowl, which we're going to get to momentarily, could potentially house the first gameplay trailer. Now, mind you, we don't know when in February or when in March, that they're going to have the Starfield show. I'm thinking it's the first week of February, personally. Yeah. But again, I don't know for sure. This packaging suggests that this game is around the corner. Do you agree?
I do agree. I believe that it's just another, check mark on the kind of the evidence that people have been kind of getting together. The box art coming out now that's releasing with that, and you also can point to on Steam last week. The release date is now says coming soon.
Yes,
on Steam for Starfield, and didn't say that before. So and their bylines are for having the coming soon are one of two things. One, they've removed the release date completely, and then now it says coming soon. And they could have done that because the placeholder date will be like December something if you actually dig deep. Or, and also the for coming soon on Steam is that it's something to release on Steam needs to have coming soon if it's a game that's releasing within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, not saying it's going to release in the next 2 weeks. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying,
but based on your knowledge of buying games from Steam and seeing their advertising, it does suggest that it's much sooner than later.
Yep.
Yeah,
it sure does.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're on the way. It's coming, and it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. We know there are people in our friends and community
in our circles that are actually playing the game right now as we speak. I will not speak on who I think it is. I do know one person for sure. I will not shout them out because that is not for me to do.
Yep. But the point is that we know that it's happening, and we know what they've thought about it. In other words, we know that they are in no way disappointed. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah. So. Again, we I actually got challenged by this. Some people were like, "Well, boom, how could you say they're overly the Bethesda over delivered?" Because that's what I was told, folks. Just if you're into gaming as much as I am, and you read all the social media posts, all you gotta do is look for it, and you're gonna see that some people that are playing the game right now, they that's what they said. They said that Bethesda has over delivered. Well, I don't know what that means to you, but that certainly means thumbs up to me. Real quick, before we bring Fuzzy into the conversation, Fuzzy, did I go to you? I got to bring Crazy Lou. I'm sorry. We got to bring Crazy Lou into the conversation. Let me catch up on the super chats. Been quite a few of big ones. First of all, Drawn TJ drops a very generous $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Drawn TJ. Welcome. He says hello, guys, and hello to you, Drawn TJ. We also have Jesse DeBarrios drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, question for everyone, will Starfield be released with the 60 frames or performance mode? If not, and released at 30, would that affect the overall success? Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room, folks. This is now the second or third person that's talking about it. Jesse, look, here's the thing. From what we understand, there are most games are coming with a performance mode, which gives you 60 frames. And there's one that gives you all the bells and whistles with ray tracing and lighting and the better graphics at 30. I honestly don't know. They have been tight-lipped on it. I'm sure that if there is a way to deliver this game at 60 frames, they are going to do it. The systems are powerful enough. Remember, this is coming out for the Series X and the Series S, which I believe are powerful enough to have this game run at 60. But again, I'm not a developer. I don't want to dig my heels in the sand and say, yeah, it's definitely going to be there. And it's not. I couldn't tell you. Listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. At this point, if 30 frames bothers you, there's two choices. You don't play it until they make a patch, or someone in the community, which will mod it and make it 60 frames, and you'll be able to play it on your PC if you have PC powerful enough. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about it because I don't get hung up with the 30 versus 60. I know that for some people, it's like, boom, how could you play a game in 30? Guys, I've been playing games since things were sticks and dots. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, this is I'm living the dream. You know what I'm saying? I'm living the dream, folks. So we also have another one by a $5 super chat from Drawn TJ. He says, buy CD Projekt Red and Crytek and WB and all the studios they're working with. I mean, I don't think you're going to see a spending spree like that. I think what you'll see is Microsoft, if the deal gets held up or it doesn't get held up, they'll start closing the smaller deals, the Asobos, the Avalanche Studios, a few of the people that they're working with, like Drawn TJ suggests here. WB is a nightmare. I don't know. It's the same thing with Ubisoft. Everyone's like, yeah, Microsoft should buy Ubisoft. It's only going to be $3 billion. They have like 40,000 employees, folks. They have double right now. Just to give you that the under the umbrella idea of how big of a deal that would be in regards to taking on employees. Activision, Bethesda, and Microsoft Game Studios don't equal the amount of people that are currently employed at Ubisoft. Think about that for a second. That's how many people are over there. So I don't know. Ubisoft is, if you thought under the terrible tutelage of the head at Activision is bad, the Gamal family they allowed a lot of nasty shit to happen. I don't know who would want to touch them. I mean, from what we understood, remember that story that broke over the weekend? I don't know who was it that discussed it. That said Ubisoft was approaching different people and nobody wanted to be a part of it. Think about that for a second. They put themselves out to, hey, buy us, and people are like, that's okay. Don't answer the door, And
it's 20,000. It's 20K on their
20K.
Employees.
Wow.
Still a hell of a lot.
I still think it's more than, like, there's more at Ubisoft than everything under the umbrella, including if ABK King were there today.
Except what I say, 40,000. My mistake. Thank you for the correction, David. It is 20,000. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a tremendous undertaking. I don't know. I mean, I like Ubisoft they have great IPs. Splinter Cell, The Division, Assassin's Creed, you name it. They have a lot of great IP, but they also have a legacy of abuse and treating their employees like garbage and allowing it to I know Activision is bad. I know they're bad. I think though Ubisoft might be worse.
We just need that IP.
Yeah, exactly. And you know something, that's a possibility, folks. Who's to say that could not happen, where Microsoft approaches them and says, hey, listen, we want to buy said IP, Splinter Cell being one of them. I think they're in such dire straits. And if you look at what's been reported in the last couple of days, it's not good. Like we're talking Chapter 11 potentially, and that's bankruptcy, folks. Their Ubisoft is in trouble. The first thing to go, I hate to say this, they're gonna lay off thousands upon thousands of workers. That is scary, especially in this particular timeline with finance. That's not good.
Yep. Now, could Microsoft come in and say, "Hey, look, I tell you what, we're gonna throw a bunch of money and we'll produce and pay for all the developers to work on, or excuse me, the programmers to work on Splinter Cell if it's an exclusive for the Microsoft ecosystem."
If that hasn't already happened already, I'd be surprised. Microsoft,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you look at what Sony did with, like, let's say, remember Street Fighter V, right? Like how that deal happened was, a lot of people don't know this. In 2016, Capcom was on the ropes of bankruptcy. Like now they are like legit. Don't need it. They're not going to be bought by anybody because they don't need to be. They're making so much money, it's bonkers. But in 2016, they had to make a deal. They made a deal with Microsoft for Dead Rising 3, if I'm not mistaken, as an exclusive. And then they made a deal with Sony for Sony to pick up, to spend some development dollars in Street Fighter V. And that's why Street Fighter V never came to Xbox and never will come to Xbox. So it's certainly a possibility that they're approached by somebody in Microsoft, say, hey, listen, Splinter Cell, here's all this big bag of cash. It's an exclusive, not a timed one either. It's just a straight up exclusive, and they have the money to do it. And there's no FTC regulation in regards to it. It's just a business deal. Here's a bag of money. This is exclusive. No big deal. It could happen, and honestly, it should happen, folks. It absolutely should happen. But Fuzzy, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Let's talk about this particular situation regarding Starfield. On the box suggests that this thing is close. Question is, how close?
I think we can go to probably Crazy Lou, but I still think it's going to be close to.
Fuzzy, I did it again. Sorry, Crazy Lou. Golly, this is why I hate going out of order. So I usually file order because I'm doing 1,000 things. Crazy, I apologize. Crazy Lou, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Obviously, this is a step in the right direction for Starfield. For you, this is one of the biggest games of the year. There's no doubt about it. I know Spider-Man is going to be big. I know Zelda is going to be big. I know Sony might have another one or two tricks up their sleeve. They usually do. Nintendo, you can't count out Nintendo. We finally might get something with Metroid. We might finally get the trilogy of release that's been whatever. What are your thoughts, man?
Man, I'm just happy that it's getting closer and closer. We're gonna finally get that game announced and we're gonna have a date. Man, I'm just excited for it, and I just can't wait to see that date just pop up. Ooh. I'm just sad about one thing, though. I'm really sad about one thing. That I'm not gonna get that cool box art, because in order to get that cool box art, I gotta buy a new Series X. I'm just sad about that, but damn. I'm happy it's getting closer and right around the corner. I'm super excited for it.
Here is the question, though. What if there is a special edition console? See, now you might have to bend the knee, get rid of the old black Xbox Series X and get the new whatever color it would be. I would imagine at Starfield it would be like white and orange or something like that. That'd be kind of dope. I have this. I have two. I have the original launch console. I have the Halo one like sitting right here. The Halo one is dope. I might get rid of the OG launch console and buy a Starfield special edition and swap it out. Put the Xbox, the Halo one in the room and keep the Starfield out here. I would definitely drop I would definitely drop the money. That's just me, Listen, Fuzzy, Chris, Crazy Lou, I want to stay with you because I want to now transition. We have a report, and I want to bring it up for and again, I have to logistically give credit where credit is due. Okay, now this was brought to our attention. Let me pull up the story right here. Give me a second, folks. Okay. Now, this was reported by Rebs Gaming. Now, Rebs Gaming, he's an insider, right? He's been dropping information on all consoles. Specifically, lately he's been dropping stuff on Xbox, and it's at Mr_Rebs_. He posted this, and he said he has a picture of Starfield, and in the corner, in the right-hand corner, he has the Super Bowl logo, which is in a couple of weeks. And he says the person who leaked Overdose and the Redfall release date, and it's and just to clarify, okay, it's Extras 1S. He's a Spanish YouTuber. His channel is exploding on the scene. He's currently has almost 17,000 followers. Like I said, I'm not a friend of his. I haven't even met him yet, but he follows me. I follow him. I definitely tweet all his stuff out for him because he's a good community dude. Well, he posted his thoughts, and again, he has connections, folks. He has insider knowledge. He has people that he speaks to. That Microsoft, it will reveal Starfield or a Starfield gameplay trailer during Super Bowl 54. Now, first of all, that may not seem like a big deal for many, but for the most part, ask any average person in the street who's not a sports nut, who's not following the Super Bowl because of the teams. What is the number one reason people watch the Super Bowl? It's for the commercials. Ask anybody on the street. They will tell you, I'm going to watch it for the commercials. They're the best of the year. What better place, Crazy Lou, to have an actual gameplay trailer than the Super Bowl? How big of a deal would this be for Microsoft and Bethesda?
Man, I got to tell you something, though, because I went and did a little bit of research, right? Super Bowl is actually the biggest marketing opportunity of the year. It has an audience over 112 million viewers worldwide. Seriously, if Microsoft gets a segment of that Super Bowl, wow, that would be an amazing big stunt on their side.
Well, I put it to this way: if raise your hand in the room if you think that Sony's not going to be there with a Spider-Man 2 trailer. Like, hello, of course they're going to have one, even though the game is coming at the end of the year. You don't think they're going to try and get the hype train running? Of course they are, and why wouldn't they? That'd be crazy if they didn't.
Mm-hmm. And like I was saying, though, and getting an advertising spot on the Super Bowl, really, it helps them reach new customers and promote totally themselves, man. Seriously, if Microsoft just puts that on there, it will be huge. The biggest marketing thing of the year. Whew, wow, amazing if they actually do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be tremendous, and it would be to the betterment of. Again, remember, Phil Spencer said that they feel, folks, that they might have hit the wall, so to speak, on console players and Game Pass, right? He actually said that. He feels that there may be a world where they have reached maximum adoption rate for console. Now, I would disagree, but then again, I'm not Phil Spencer. I don't have the numbers. I think there are a lot of people still holding out, and maybe they don't feel like the value is for them. Maybe they don't understand Game Pass. Maybe they're new to the console and they don't understand. Remember, services are a thing, so people understand it better than they did 5 and 10 years ago. But there are some people that just don't understand the whole service thing, especially with games. It's new, right? It's never been done before, and it's some people just don't understand. Web Dave, I want to. Crazy Lou just confirmed that the number one advertising spot in any given year is the Super Bowl. Yep. This is a proven fact. This is not a suggestion. This is not the fanboyisms. This is happening. It is a big deal. It's a monster deal.
Yep.
For you personally, if Starfield were to show up and it's a minute or a minute and a half or 90 seconds, whatever,
seconds.
Whatever, it is going to pique the interest of the normies who are watching this, who might have gotten an Xbox, who are now starting to hear about this Netflix of gaming called Game Pass. Obviously, and I have to bring it up, folks. money in 2023 is becoming a lot harder to keep in your wallet. Everything is getting more expensive. If you're a parent and your kid wants a PlayStation 5, it's almost $600 after tax. I mean, if I would do anything, I'd tell myself in the corner to get my kids what they wanted, because that's just what I would do as a parent. I would do everything I could to get them, if they were good kids, because they deserve it. And as a parent, it's my responsibility to do so. Right. So I would go beyond means. But some people have limitations. Xbox, regardless of what, I don't care what side of the line that you're on, you cannot argue that for the dollar value, you're not getting your money's worth. Okay, yes, they don't have The Last of Us 2. They don't have God of War, but they have plenty of other games that rival those IPs. And like I said, this year specifically is going to be ridiculous for value, and a lot of big games are dropping in there. What are your thoughts on this, Dave? Is this when we start to see Microsoft really swing for the fences?
Yeah, this is their year to make a stand, get their feet set, and get things going, as it were. A correction on the numbers, they are actually much larger. The according to NFL.com, the official NFL site, Super Bowl last year, the final totals was over 208 million viewers.
Wow.
And that's just during the gameplay. Now, the commercials themselves actually get hundreds of millions of views on their own individually as well,
Wow.
because they have they start releasing them a few days before Super Bowl. They even have a special show the NFL puts out that is exclusively for the commercials of a revealing of like the most popular commercials for the year. That's how big
Wow.
the advertisement is. And you think the cost that they would spend on that, I mean, it's big money. It's, there's like, a 30-second spot's like $5 million, $6 million. You kick that back, that's chump change for Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's, Microsoft, they could do a Starfield. They could do a split commercial where they start off with Game Pass and then they go into Starfield, or they could do a big ad on Game Pass and really highlight and bring home, Starfield in that. Microsoft is not playing around this
No.
time. This year they can't afford to.
Right.
Last year, to a lot of people, even us as gamers for Microsoft, were kind of disappointed, in the show. I mean, there's understandable how things are happen, as far as the pandemic and the way things fell, and the way this the ABK deal was not something that they were focused on at the time when it came up.
Yep.
But they pivoted to it, and the reason they did that was because this was a huge opportunity for them to really make a statement, and they realized that, so they put some other things on hold. I'm sure we'd all love for them to have been able to do those things at the same time. You can't. So, but that doesn't mean as soon as this ABK deal isn't, when it's done, there's going to be a lot of things they have a list of things that they'll be like,
there's no doubt, Dave, that there's a holding pattern on quite a few things.
Yeah, but the Super Bowl is there may not be a Super Bowl ad, but that doesn't mean that they're that they're not going to do it. But if there's people speculating there is, and some people have heard that there is, that are in the know,
yeah,
it is definitely within the realm of possibility. And I would see that they could do it. They really could do it. And I think if they did do it, it's going to be good. Of course, it's all in the way it turns out. If they're going to have to make it simplistic and to the point, and stress that, especially if it's just Starfield, only on where you can, and on the Xbox ecosystem.
Yep.
That can be your phone, your tablet, your PC, your TV set without a console, your console, those kind of things. They have to stress it to the simplicity. And and on Game Pass for only $14.99, 14 whatever a month.
Absolutely.
Those are the if they can convey that in a 30-second to a 1-minute spot to where the average person kicks in, and then you're like, oh wow, my kids, I can get that for my kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a win-win, and it's definitely a possibility and an opportunity for them. And even then, it's not going to be the only one this year. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for Microsoft to shine this year.
There's no doubt. I will say this. I'll say this publicly, folks. I don't have a marketing degree. I know Microsoft. I'm very fortunate that they do listen to the show. I've been told that by even of the likes of of many people I consider friends. Larry Herb, who I had a guest on a couple of years ago, said, we listen to the Xbox Factor podcast. Okay, and obviously this is one of the newer programs, the Xbox Lunch Break Specials. I would imagine, and I could somewhat suggest that this could be one of the programs they listen to, and that's pretty damn cool if you think about it. I will say this with full authority: if they're not at the Super Bowl, it is going to be, in my opinion, an absolute blunder in marketing. And again, I will give them righteous smoke for not doing that, because they're Microsoft. They have the money. Coke and we see this all the time. Why does Pepsi keep advertising? Coke and Pepsi is known throughout the entire planet, right? Do they need to be at the Super Bowl? No, they don't have to be. You're still drinking your Coke and your Pepsi, right? But it's there every freaking year because you got to sometimes remind people. And like I said, I have been someone that does give the righteous smoke to Microsoft when they earn it. And I will say this with full authority: if they do not show up at the Super Bowl, it is a blunder and a missed opportunity. It's very hard to find a particular event that puts that many people in front of a TV set for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. And there's something to be said about what Dave said about commercials being watched on YouTube and seen before the Super Bowl and after the Super Bowl. It's spend the money, folks. If you want to sell this new IP to the people that you want to become Xbox gamers, you gotta spend the bucks, and Microsoft has that. Do you agree with this, Fuzzy?
Oh, yes, definitely. When it comes to the Super Bowl, I don't think there's any bigger event out there in the world. Maybe the World Cup to some extent, but at least here in the States, I would say there's definitely no bigger event as far as for advertising. I mean, that's why it's like $5 million for a few seconds. Like, who would spend that kind of money otherwise? But they know they're going to be in front of so many eyes. And I remember all the like random commercials from like even way back in the day, General Auto Insurance. It's like, I don't think anybody would even be talking about General Auto Insurance other than them having like Shaq and this cartoon character in a Super Bowl commercial that, may have lasted 30 seconds, but whatever money they spent on it was well worth it to get that brand in front of people. And I'm pretty sure if Xbox is working on it, especially with that new studio that they've recently opened that's geared towards making these media publications and things like that, I can't imagine them wanting to or not wanting to be at the Super Bowl and at least capture that audience for however many seconds to bring attention to Starfield for this year, bring attention to Game Pass or whatever other item that they may want to advertise. But I think Starfield would probably be their biggest get. Redfall could be another one, but I think it's Starfield to be advertised at the Super Bowl, and it makes perfect sense just for the sheer number of people that are going to be watching, either before the Super Bowl or after the fact. Like I said, I tend to watch a lot of the commercials on repeat on YouTube just afterwards.
Me too. I do the same thing. Yeah.
It's just so much fun seeing some of the wacky ads that it's like only during Super Bowl time will you see these types of ads. So it's usually when marketing teams put their best foot forward as far as advertising.
Yeah. Hey, Boom, I dropped that in the private chat for you. From
okay, so here it goes. Dave, what does a Super Bowl commercial cost? Fox set records with over $7 million for 30 seconds, according to Bloomberg.
Yep.
So,
but that's chump change to Microsoft for advertising.
Again, we have to consider. I mean, listen, $7 million. I only have $5.5 million in the bank account, so I can't really, I really can't, understand what 7 is. I can understand 5.5. I'm lying, folks. Look, it's Microsoft. You are looking to do something that in video games, in marketing, it's very, very hard to turn the head of the consumer. Usually consumers are very forward facing and they like what they like and they go for the same thing that they like because it's safe and they understand it. You are trying to go and challenge the likes of PlayStation. It is the number 7 brand in the entire planet, folks. Okay? Xbox is like, I think, 23rd or 27th. It may even be farther down the line. When you are trying to challenge the champ, you must do unconventional things. And you have to sometimes spend those development dollars on other avenues to turn the head of the consumer. PlayStation is the number 7th world recognized brand. I don't have to say anything more than that. If you want to meet Sony in the middle, you have to do what Sony is doing.
Yep.
I mean, a perfect example of how people are talking about Sony like it's the greatest things in sliced bread is who didn't watch The Last of Us last night. It was freaking phenomenal. It was absolutely amazing from start to finish, and I cannot wait for next week already, right? And right at the end of it, if you stay through the credits, because I always do, because, Marvel has taught me that you have to stay to the end of the credits. It says PlayStation Studios right at the back end of it. Folks, if you want to challenge the champ, Microsoft has to do some new things.
Yep.
And what better place to show up and show off one of the biggest games of the year than the Super Bowl? I don't know how else to put it other than, if they don't show up, I will be the first one to give them the business. I think it will be a horrible, horrible mishandling of a situation. I think that it's just straight up. It would not make any sense to me why you wouldn't show up. Even though, again, get the people hyped for your event in 2 weeks, in 9 days, which is the 25th of January. And get people even more excited for when you're going to drop the Starfield event, the dedicated event. You're going to want people to be like, yo, what is this Starfield stuff? It's like Star Wars. It's like Star Trek. I don't know what I'm seeing, but I love it. And there's an event coming. And they can go and they can spend the money and get the people excited. And that's how you bring in the normies. That's how you bring people into your ecosystem that have no business playing games, but you have just sold them a dream.
Here's a fun fact that I just looked over. Elder Scrolls Online was shown at the Super Bowl.
There you go. Okay, I didn't even know that. So there you go. So if Elder Scrolls Online, which I don't know what year was that? Were they owned by Microsoft at the time?
No, they weren't. No, they weren't owned by Microsoft at the time. No.
So think about that for a second. Little old Bethesda spent those millions and millions and millions of dollars, and that's little old Bethesda. You mean to tell me Microsoft, the big, the big giant in the room, the big elephant in the room, can't spend the development dollars to do a commercial, a 90-second or a 1-minute commercial, Starfield, Xbox exclusive, however you're going to do it? I don't know. I hope that comes to fruition. I hope that all the rumors that we're hearing from credible sources. Again, they've gotten it wrong? Sure, I've gotten it wrong too, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Sometimes you just get it wrong. It's life. But I want to catch up on the super chats, and I want to move to a topic that Fuzzy Belvedere. We're gonna get, folks, and don't worry, we're gonna get to the Gears topic, but we have one more before we get there, and that is, of course, Fuzzy Belvedere's bread and butter. What can you talk about? Forza. We're going to get to that in a second. But we have a very generous $20 super chat from our good friend Gerald Mack, who's been a channel member for a year. Brother, thank you so much for the generosity. I cannot thank you enough. He drops $20 and says, shout out to Double Barrel Gaming and Mr. Boomstick and panel. Well, thank you so much. We humbly appreciate the generosity as well as you being here. Drawn TJ drops we have Jesse DeBarrios drops a very generous additional $5 super chat and says, no matter what I think Starfield will be amazing, and so will Redfall. Definitely excited for both. Yes, me too. Two new IPs. I cannot wait to play both. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Starfield Xbox Series X white and navy blue? Yeah, possibly. I could see the navy blue aspect of it. If you look at the, I'd like it kind of like a NASA white and orange kind of a thing. That's just my taste. We know with the Starfield logo on the side or whatever, have like a nice space theme when it starts up. Xbox. If you need someone to help with design, I'm ready to be hired. Sir X-Man drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, I just want a Forza custom console before scalpers. Listen, that's another thing. I had it for a story a couple of maybe 2 weeks ago. I never talked about it because there's just too much news. They have a Forza bundle, Forza Horizon 5 bundle, and it's a standard black Xbox. Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's shocking to me. Microsoft used to be known as the custom console developer of choice. I don't know how much it is to make these consoles, but I don't necessarily know how expensive it would be to go from standard black to maybe, I don't know, shiny, candy apple red, or, even a shiny black with like the Forza logo on it. I don't know. I just think that's, again, it's one of those things, as amazing as Forza Horizon 5 is, and it is just a masterpiece, a masterclass racing game. You have a bundle and you don't offer a special. How about this, folks? And I don't mean to go off kilter here. How about this? What about including the Forza controller that you made in every box? Like, how is that not a thing? How is the Forza custom controller that I have sitting right here, is one of my favorite controllers? It's freaking gorgeous. How is that not in the box? I don't understand. This is what I'm saying. These are the marketing missteps that I feel whoever's in charge is not taking into the account the diehard fan base. You put that custom controller in the box and you put it on the advertising where people are going to walk by. You ever seen what that controller looks like, folks? I mean, if you want, I can walk over and get it for you. It's freaking gorgeous. And it pops because it has neon colors on it. Mm-hmm. How come that's not in the box? You don't want to give me a custom controller? I mean, a custom console? I'm disappointed, but come on, folks. I mean, you're Microsoft. Spend the money. That's all I'm going to say. You can do it. Enough for the BoomStick rant. I want to talk to Fuzzy, and I want to talk about the ForzaTech engine coming to Motorsport. Mm-hmm. This is, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, Fuzzy, because you are the master of racing, just like Jill is the master of unlocking. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this new ForzaTech engine is going to push the Series X to its limits and give us the first, holy shit moment for graphics?
I think it definitely will push all of the barriers as far as what this console can do, because it's going to have the ray tracing as far as ambient occlusion. It's going to have ray trace reflections. It's probably going after Forza Horizon 5 had it in there. They're probably going to also have ray trace audio as well. I think there's going to be a lot of bells and whistles pushed on this engine that are. I'm not going to say it's going to come close to breaking the console, but it's definitely going to be firing on all 8 cylinders when it's running this game. They're adding a lot more of a contact patch as far as the tire model. I think it's gone from 4 to 8 as far as points of contact and measurements and things. So the sidewall flex when you're going through a turn, the heat that is involved as far as when the tire flexes, and the heat of the track from the temperature or the amount of traffic going over that particular section of the track, keeping warmth in the track, are all going to be in the calculation. There's going to be an update to the damage model, which I know if you've played the Forza Motorsport 7, it's not as big of a damage model as some people would expect from when you compare it to a game like Wreckfest, but that's a whole different style of game where wrecking is more of the aspect. But the deformation of the car models and things like that, the wear and tear on the tires, the suspension movement, and all those calculations involved are definitely going to put the chipset as far as the CPU aspect or the brains of the APU through its paces, and then on the graphics end, the visuals, with it being, and I can't promise that this is going to be the fact, but just knowing how Turn 10 is, I would have to assume this thing is going to be 4K most of the time, if not all the time, running at 60 frames. Ray tracing mode might have it where it's like like an adjustable resolution or something like that. But I think most of the time we'll see this thing pushing pretty close to 4K, if not a lock 4K at lock 60. And I wouldn't be surprised if they even do 120 mode in like 1080 or something along those lines. But this thing is definitely going to push all the bells and whistles as far as what this console can do. I'm pretty sure it's even going to push the limits on what some CPUs are going to do, or PCs are going to be able to do, as far as when you start doing all the paint schemes. Like if you're doing custom paint schemes on all the cars on track, if you're having a race between a mixture of full field of AI and players, as well as being in the track where there's the time of day transition, weather probably changing, where it may be dry at the beginning of the race, rains midstream of the race, and then you got to make the decision if you want to change to like a wet compound tire type of deal or something along those lines. But everything that they've hinted to so far, from like the Forza monthlies that they've had like a quick look at what's coming up for Forza Motorsport, I would say the biggest thing I'm looking for that showcase at the end of this month or towards the later part of this month is, one, the car list. I'm hoping they go with a car list that's as robust as what 7 had, and then some, with a lot more newer models or updated models of some of those cars. And I'm hoping the track list is even more robust than it was for Motorsport 7, where now we have, especially with having that time of day change and all those other, intricacies as far as how the tread pattern or the rubber buildup on the track will affect your traction, or affect, the pacing of the race and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to all of those things being discussed, at the showcase. But man, fingers crossed. Like I'm kind of torn as far as when this thing will drop as far as this year. I'm hoping it's before June. I know there's a lot that they're doing, and some of the stuff I've heard in the background, where I know there's been a few people on social media that have said, "Oh, it's possibly delayed," and blah blah blah.
No,
like,
it's not delayed. It's, yeah, people are ridiculous.
It's one of those things where they're just into the polishing phase right at this point in time, where
Buzzy, it's coming this summer.
well, I think it's I'm hoping prior to June, if not sooner, type of thing. Like I'm pretty confident with when they may mention that they'll be in the polishing in January, February of this year, that, give a month or two after that, we'll hear that it goes gold, and then we'll have it ready for pre-download and things like that. But
yeah,
I know they've rescanned all of the tracks. They've rescanned a lot of cars. They've up-resed a lot of the textures. They've up-resed a lot of the finishes as far as the textures. So we're going to be able to see, distinct differences in the stitching versus the leather of the seats. We're going to be able to see distinct differences on the glass, where it's tinted versus where it's clear, or where there might be a sticker or a logo or something along those lines. So there's so many like finite details that they're they've already kind of wrapped up, and it's just pretty much now getting into, okay, let's make sure everything shows smoothly at 60 frames. Let's make sure everything loads as intended within, the 3 to 5 seconds that, between races or between tracks or something along those lines. So right now, with it being full on polishing phase time, I can't wait. I'm pretty sure you can tell from my excitement, from my voice, that this is pretty much my most anticipated game this year.
Yeah, that's why I went to you first. There's no doubt about it. Real quick, let me catch up with some of the super chats, and we'll get Web Dave, and then Crazy Loon. We're gonna get into the big topic of the show, or at least one of the big topics, and that is the Gears of War Trilogy, known as the Marcus Fenix Collection. We have more information that it could potentially not only be true, but it's being done in Unreal Engine 5. I think that collection needs to exist for a multitude of reasons, but we'll get to it momentarily. Again, let me just catch up with some of the super chats, and then we will get right to that. We have Drawn TJ, who has been a big proponent of this in almost all the super chats. He says, like Fuzzy, first of all, he drops a very generous additional $5 super chat. It says, Forza Motorsport, and he talks about this all the time, better have new 2022 and 2023 supercars and muscle cars and SUVs. Yeah, I think they're going to have all the bells and whistles. I really do. I think this game has been in development for so long that they're going to hit on all switches. Gerald Mack, who drops an additional $2 super chat and says, hit that like button. Thank you so much for that, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Yes, hit the like button. We had over 500 people swing through. Still almost 500 here. Thank you so much for checking us out. Highlander 001, what's going on, brother? He's been a channel member for 6 months. He drops a $5 super chat and says, after the ABK deal closes, I think Microsoft will need to acquire support studios and maybe hire a dedicated PR team. They will not be going big again. Yeah, I think this is the last time that they go this big. Unless, I mean, it is Microsoft, so maybe they'll shock me, but I don't know. This has had so much scrutiny. I think they're going to want to take a couple years off before buying anything big and simply just go and buy IPs. Like, what would Splinter Cell cost? Does anyone know? Does anyone have any idea what a Splinter Cell IP would cost? I'm not sure. But I know that I would like for Microsoft to, I'm sorry to say, not sound like a jerk. Ubisoft, they're wounded, right? They need a cash influx. I'm sorry, man. Buy the IP and get one of your teams. Could you imagine a coalition developed Splinter Cell? What about Ninja Theory? Whoa, now we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. But we also have Sir X-Men, who, hey, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. He drops a very generous $2 object and says, fine-tuning PC racing rig for Forza. Can't wait. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be dope on PC. Dave, let's get your opinion on this, brother. ForzaTech expected to really put the Series X and S through its paces, and obviously based on the information that was provided to us from Fuzzy, this could be one of the first games that really shows off the power of this console. What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Oh man, definitely. I mean, it's from what we've seen just in the early trailer, it's gonna be completely powerful. I mean, it's a hardcore race simulator like Fuzzy, who loves those, are extremely passionate about it, knows the tech and sees that the potential is really mind blowing as far as a racing sim is considered, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. I'm glad it's in Game Pass because that way I will play it. I like racers, but it's not necessarily my bag. But also, a quick backstep when you're talking about maybe a Forza, collector's type, bundle type thing, or maybe an exclusive console. I mean, Series S is ripe for me to be a console that they could do so much with. I mean, the white system. That's a canvas right there, man. You could go nuts doing some really cool designs on that, and less expensive avenue into the console marketing. Anyway, I think it's going to be great. I think it's looking really good, and I believe it's going to be out before the end of summer.
I think June. I mean, but we could see somewhere like you do get Starfield in March, 3/23/23. You could get Forza in April or May. No, May is Starfield. I mean, Redfall. So at least that's the rumor, folks. That's the rumor that is that's out there in the ether. And June seems ripe for Forza. I mean, there's no other car games that we know that are releasing around that time. It is E3 time, and what better way to show off your shiny new racing game than around E3 when everyone is looking at the future of gaming, right? So it's definitely a possibility. Silent Cypher in the chat. I think Crazy Lou, you know who that person is. He says Ubisoft would probably take $10 and a sandwich for Splinter Cell at this point. Twitch their current issues. Yeah, it's very funny. And Clark Osborne, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the program. He says, Boom, have you seen Scars Above? No, I have not. Let's get the hype going. Coming end of February, beginning of March, hopefully. I got to check that out. Did anyone see that? Scars Above? I didn't even know about that game. Big shout out to you, brother, for that. Thank you. We also have Drawn TJ dropped an additional $5 super chat and says they need to go and buy the Need for Speed IP and Command and Conquer, save them from EA. Yeah, EA is not selling any of that stuff. Need for Speed made them a lot of money. I don't know how. Does anyone know how Unbounded? I bought it. I haven't played it.
I know it did better than I think Heat in its first 6 weeks.
Okay, there you go.
But I don't have raw numbers, but it's definitely more played and done better as far as compared to the launch.
Or Criterion made that, right?
Pretty good for him. Payback was like their downturn, but Heat was pretty good for him, and this did better than that. So I would have to believe this is them, knowing what they're going to do for the future for Need for Speed titles, and they'll keep on iterating and making better ones from this point forward, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said, I've only seen gameplay. I actually own the game. I bought the big edition, and I never played it. I'm just so behind in games. It's ridiculous. This is what happens when you live stream 5 days a week, folks. It gets difficult to play games. But Crazy Lou, let's get your opinion on this, brother. What are your thoughts? I mean, the Forza-Tech Engine. This is the new engine. This is what is rumored to be being worked on for Fable, which is amazing. But getting to see, first of all, if as we know as gamers, if you want to show off the most powerful aspects of your console, it's usually done with racing games. And no one bigger game this year for racing is than Forza Motorsport. What are your thoughts on this, brother? Should we see some death-defying graphics?
Yes, we should. I mean, look at that trailer. When that trailer was shown, I mean, I was with my mouth open. I was like, wow, this looks amazing. And of all the things Fuzzy has said, I mean, I was trying to write things down. That was a lot of stuff. Fuzzy pretty much said it all. It's going to be freaking huge and freaking amazing. The ray tracing, everything. I know they're going to put everything into that game. And I would love to see how the Series X is going to interact with that. It's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, that makes two of us. I'm looking forward to it. Shout out to David Cohen in the chat. He goes, yes, the Xbox Series S, the console pony's called a potato. Also runs, potato. Also, no Forza isn't going to be a bottleneck. No, it's not. I mean, obviously, first-party games should be running at their maximum stats on their home console. That's just the way it has to be. No doubt about that. But listen, folks, I want to move on to the last topic of the show, and this is the big one, folks. We're going to run a little bit extra, so hang out with us as we talked about the rumored Gears of War remastered. Now, the one thing I will say is I've seen a lot of pushback. Now, I'm not going to suggest that it's just PlayStation community that's looking to, point fingers. You see, it's only Gears. Here's the thing, folks. If you're a Sony player and you're hanging out with us, you're more than welcome. Walk around, the tower, hang out, chill, put your feet up on the couch, grab a Dr. Pepper, because I don't drink. I don't want to hear that the Xbox game community doesn't want or deserve a remake of Unreal Engine 5 possibilities for the Gears trilogy, because let's call spade a spade here, folks. Sony has become the master of remasters, right? Perfect example, and I'm taking nothing away from the game. The Last of Us got remastered from the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4, right? Got remastered from the PlayStation 4 to PC, and then remastered and remade again for the PlayStation 5. I'm just saying that and again, one of my favorite PlayStation games of all time, but if that game can get it, who doesn't want a trilogy dedicated to Marcus Fenix? The Marcus Fenix collection. We've been hearing this for years. Unreal Engine 5 is one of the most powerful new development tools. The Coalition are the masters. They are the masters of the Unreal Engine. I think that not only should this happen, it absolutely has to happen, simply because we know Gear 6 is at least 2, maybe even 3 years away. Gear 6 is a whiles away. What better way to introduce new players that potentially might go out and buy your new Series S or X because they saw the Starfield commercial, or they saw the Motorsport commercial, or they're into vampires and they saw the Redfall commercial. What better way to introduce them to one of the pillar IPs in Xbox history? And again, I know that it's used as a meme. Xbox, it's Halo, Gears, and Forza. You know what? that is where they built the brand. There's nothing wrong with going back to your OG IPs and revisiting them. I know that the Halo Master Chief Collection didn't start out great, but you got to admit that collection right now is fire. I think it's time for Gears to get its own collection. Let me go first to Web Dave on this. Web Dave, this report comes the way of Nick Baker, which, if you don't know who Nick Baker is, he is one of the co-hosts and the voices of the Xbox Era podcast. And he alleges, according to the story that I pulled from Dextro.com, that the Gears of War would get a Halo Master Chief Collection treatment. And apparently the rumblings were that it would hit store shelves sometime in 2022. Now, that was delayed. Now, why it didn't hit in 2022, I couldn't tell you. But there is rumblings again that this does actually exist. We've heard it from different sources. I trust Special Nick. Yes, he's gotten it wrong. I've gotten it wrong. Everyone's has gotten it wrong. What are your thoughts on this? Does the Marcus Phoenix collection have a place in gaming?
Sure, why not? I mean, it's a great franchise. Some of those are kind of showing their age a little bit. A good, nice tweak, cleanup, refresh would be good for the franchise, and like it would help kind of, I guess, quell some of the people wanting the new Gears, which we know they're working on what we call the current gen level of Gears, a brand new Gears. It's in the works now. We know it's coming. So yeah. It's definitely I think it'd be a win-win. Why not? It's not going to take a lot of resources for them to really to get it ready to go out the door. And if it's in the can ready to go, and they're probably holding off for that right moment to unleash it on the community. And those things are coming. And why not? Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, do I want them to spend all the resources on that and not something new? No, but they're not doing that. They're covering all their bases, and that's a win for all of us that are gamers.
Yeah, no. Well, I'll say this to your point, Dave. If you remember when they remastered or remade Gears 1, right? They had added an entire section that was cut from the Xbox 360 version that was on the PC version. Right? There was a whole part that was cut. Now, in the development of games, folks, lots of things get cut on the building of these games, and they're like director's cuts, like in films. 15 minutes of additional footage has been added. Now, sometimes for like Spider-Man: No Way Home, it didn't really turn the dial to 11. Like some of the few things that were cut out, they didn't really need to be there. It didn't change the film in such a dramatic way that, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Revelation time. I can't say that for this. But listen, I agree with you, Dave. I think there is a world where Gears of War needs a reintroduction. Again, say what you want about Gears 5. I thought Gears 5 was brilliant on graphics, on story, on everything. I had zero problems with Gears 5. 50 times better than Gears 4. But there's something to be said. I think it's like Star Wars, Dave. As great as Star Wars is, and in some cases, not really. Their last trilogy was just very, very cringy, to be honest with you. There's something to be said about the original trilogy from the 70s, right? That is the pinnacle, at least for me, because I got the chance to see them. I'm that old, folks. Yes, I saw them in theaters. There's something to be said
Me too.
about the original trilogy opposed to everything else they have done since. There is something to be said, Dave, about the original Gears of War trilogy being done or remade in Unreal Engine 5 to show a new audience. We're going to win as fans because we're already here. The people that already support Xbox are going to be like, yes, Gears, holy shit, I can't believe it. Give me a custom console and a collector's edition. But for the new people that are coming in, this is one of those like big budgeted AAA explosion films that gets everyone's attention, and I'd love to see new fans come towards it. Anything you want to add before we move on to Fuzzy?
I'm good.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, listen, Fuzzy, I want to read verbatim to what Nick had to say, and he says this, folks. I'm currently not allowed to give much more detail other than it's happening at the moment. I'm working on loosening the grip. But even as someone who isn't a big Gears fan anymore, what this should be really, this would be really awesome. Add even better adjectives for Gears fans. And he goes on to say here, I won't back down on this. It's happening. I got goosebumps just saying that because I'm a huge Gears fan. I mean, I got a Lancer like with the cog tags like literally above my head that I got for Gears 1. It was a collector's edition from, of all places, Amazon, and it's worth a ton of money. I love it. I'd love to see Gears come back in a big way. What are your thoughts on the fact that it could be switching to Unreal Engine 5, giving us the greatest Gears experience to date, and the importance of the trilogy specifically coming back?
Well, a couple of things with Coalition. This gives them even more control or practice with Unreal Engine 5. Like, they were the masters of Unreal Engine in general when it comes to Unreal Engine 4, and we've seen that in Gears 4 and 5, how much they were able to squeeze out of that engine on older hardware and get, reflections to almost look like it's ray trace as opposed to screen space type stuff. So they're definitely masters of their craft. When it comes to taking the original trilogy and pretty much remastering it in the latest and greatest engine, then I think this will, one, give us some insight of what we can expect for Gear 6, which, it's going to be a handful of years down the road, but nonetheless, this will also allow us to see, some of the things that, like when you look at some of the games that you've played on previous console, you usually have like these rose-colored glasses, vision of it, and then you go back to it and it's like, oh wow, yeah, there wasn't really textures on the rocks in the background, or these buildings didn't really quite look as cool as I remember them now. But now, for those that have already played those, this will give them almost like it's going to be more than just a fresh coat of paint type of thing. It'll allow them to go back and revisit these games. And when it comes to Coalition, I have, full, understanding that they will more than likely make some, quality of life improvements as far as the reload stuff and things along those lines and accessibility stuff. But I think the like you guys have touched on earlier, it's going to be huge for those that are new to the franchise and huge for those that are new to the platform. This will give them a taste of the greatness from the past as far as that trilogy, which a lot of people still to this day are looking at as being the peak for Gears. A lot of people, like me personally, I like Gears 4 a little bit more than Gears 5, but I'm fairly new to the Gears series. Like, I didn't really hop into the Xbox platform until Gears 4 timeframe, but I think this is a great opportunity for them, and I'm hoping, yes, does Nick get it wrong sometimes? Sure, we all get it wrong, like you said, sometimes. But I'm pretty hopeful that this is going to be a thing, because it makes too much sense for them to not do this. Like, if they don't do like a Phoenix collection here soon in like Unreal Engine 5, then I think there's not just going to be this whole category of disappointment in existing fans of the Gears series, but there's going to be a little bit of disappointment in whatever they would have been spending their possible time on other than doing something like this remastering for it. Like, yeah, Master Chief Collection didn't have the best start, but like if you look back at it now, as far as its functionality, a lot of things that's been added and continue to be added to the Master Chief Collection. If they do something like that for like pretty much the Marcus Phoenix Collection, I think at that point, there's forget about the meme of, like you said, the Forza Halo and Gears type of thing. This will just show why these franchises are important. Why, they may have, just focused on those for so long, but it'll allow a lot of people to at least, get immersed in this new looking franchise, as far as with the new, engine and everything that, we know Coalition to be pretty much the wizards of. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that makes two of us. But you know what? There's someone in the chat that thinks otherwise. VT Feeds Gaming Streams says, "Oh wow, Unreal Engine 5. Wow, so unique. Wow, so excited. My God, that's so stupid." Listen, dude. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to say what's wrong and right because it's your opinion. I don't turn your head which way how you enjoy gaming. But if like I said, we've seen remasters come the way of plenty of Nintendo games that have sold millions. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a perfect example of a game that they have released on the Wii U and now the Switch, and it's one of their most popular and biggest selling games. I'm not saying that this is going to move the needle for everyone, but Gears of War Trilogy deserves to exist the same way The Last of Us Remastered exists, the same way we're going to see a lot of people screaming to the high heavens of excitement for the announcement for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, because that's coming. That's what Sony does. They even have a even more incentive to do it because of the show. So expect that The Last of Us 2 Remastered to be announced, and I'm sure there's going to be people saying, "Oh, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread." So if you don't agree, I hear you, dude. Like I said, you're entitled to your opinion, but that's where it ends. If you continue to, to kind of be a bit of a troll, we handle trolls here, very sternly. So hang out, enjoy, drop a couple opinions, but don't be a jerk. You may not be excited, but other people might. So just respect other people, and that's all I ask if you want to hang out in this chat. But Fuzzy, Crazy Lou Gaming, before I get to you, brother, I got a couple more super chats in here. We have Highlander 001 drops an additional very generous $2 super chat and says, "I think Microsoft should sponsor a race team. That would be kind of dope, to be honest with you. That's pretty cool. I agree with that. I think that's really cool considering that they have two of the best racers in the business. Why aren't they a sponsor of a race team?" And Sir X-Man drops an additional and very generous $2 super chat and says, "I want a new Steel Battalion with a big controller." Who doesn't? You know why that wouldn't exist in this world? Because parts are so expensive and so hard to find. Like you're finding like even like the most simple of things getting delays. My wife had gotten me, I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a PlayStation 5 controller. I don't know the name of it. It's purple, and you could take it apart, and it goes from the sticks being in the middle, or you can turn it, and it could be like an Xbox controller. She ordered that for me for Christmas, I think in November, and it's been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And eventually, I'll show it off, like I'll do an unboxing on it or something. I'm very excited for it because it looks like a dope controller. But listen, parts are difficult. Steel Battalion was amazing. I don't know, a couple of years ago, was it last year? I think it was last year's. They had the video game show, PAX East. That's what it was, PAX East. They had a room set up with 10 monitors and 10 Steel Battalion controllers. That's pretty. I would have definitely waited in line to play that because that's pretty dope. Steel Battalion was way ahead of its time, and yes, I agree. I would buy that controller even if it was like a $500 investment. I would still buy it. But Crazy Lou Gaming, is there a world where the Gears trilogy gets remastered and finds its way to new consumers that never heard of the series before.
Yes, it does deserve to come back. I mean, seriously, why not? I mean, we got Gears of War remastered in 2015. And when we saw that Gears of War remastered, we wanted 2, 3, and Judgment to be remastered. All of us did, I imagine, right? I was one of those that I wanted to see Gears of War in the new engine back then. So can you imagine we get Gears of War 2, which came out in 2008, Gears of War 3, which came out in 2011, and Gears of War Judgment, which came out into 2013 in Unreal Engine 5, plus Part 1, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Why not? It would be awesome. Unreal Engine 5, man, just to see. And not only that, that's a way for them to show what's going to come up after this awesome, trilogy. I mean, it gives them a chance to show off what they can do.
Yeah,
which
I agree.
I want to see that. I want to see what Coalition is going to bring. Really, because I mean, after seeing the Matrix trailer or the Matrix thing,
the demo was ridiculous. Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
It was pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I look. They are the masters of Unreal Engine. There's no doubt about it. We know that for an absolute fact. But the fact they still have to learn the new techniques and what I mean. Listen, again, shout out to VT Feeds Gaming Streams. He says, "I want the best for Xbox." Was talking about how it would be a waste of resources because a game like Grounded could be made with 10 devs. And see, here's the thing, dude. I appreciate you being here, brother, and I'm glad you clarified yourself. I just don't want trolls here, so my apologies if I sounded a little harsh. The thing is this. You're talking about resources. I don't know how much resources would be used to make a game, an older game in Unreal Engine 5. But I would imagine that it would be to the betterment of the series. Because like I said, the point of bringing back old games is to find your way to a new audience, right? That is the whole point of this, is to find your way to a new audience. We know about Gears because we're the diehards. We had 500 people here today. Everyone in the chat at least knows. Maybe they haven't played it. Maybe they don't like it, but they know what Gears of War is. Gears 5 launched 2 or 3 years ago, right? And launched to great success. It did great commercially and critically. But the trilogy is the pinnacle trilogy in all of the Gears franchise. The same way Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 that are known as episodes 1, 2, and 3. If you saw them in that order, like I said, I saw them in the theater. I didn't know that there were 4, 5, and 6 at the time. I could care less. I was seeing somebody dressed as Darth Vader, and I was buying the toy, so I was happy. You're trying to introduce a staple in your IP franchise to new players. Like I said, Phil Spencer has said many times, he feels, and he has the numbers, folks. He knows better than I would, that they have kind of hit the wall, so to speak, with gamers on the console. That's why they want to appeal to gamers who game normally on tablets, on PCs, and on phones. And how do you do that? Well, you bring a franchise that is a big AAA popcorn type of franchise with new shiny graphics to millions of players that have never played that franchise before. I'm just saying that to me, it should be done. Nick is pretty damn good when it comes to his sources. Yes, like I said, and like Dave has said, and Fuzzy, we get it wrong sometimes. And sometimes that's life. How you fix that is come out and say, hey, folks, look, I got it wrong. Sorry. My source told me this. It told me it was A. It turned out to be B. Well, what's not wrong with being wrong. But look, at the end of the day, I think there is a world where this deserves, because of its popularity and the fact that it is a legacy IP, it deserves to have an updated version for new fans to discover. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this week's new episode, of course, of the Xbox Lunch Break Special. We had over 500 people tune in. We do have a few more super chats to get to before we get to the outros. Drawn TJ drops an additional and very generous $5 super chat and says, this is already a Gears collection, but I think you missed my super chat. Did I miss your super? I don't think I did, brother. No, I pretty sure I got all of them, but if I did, I apologize. Let's see if I could find them. See, yeah, I don't see it here. Maybe I did miss it. If I did, I apologize. There, Drone TJ, I definitely appreciate the generosity, but I do want to say thank you again to all of the super chats that come in. Obviously, those are going to do something very, very special this year. Last year, Mrs. Boomstick and I gave out $3,500 worth of gift cards through multiple contests. The biggest one in the channel history was the Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. We gave away $1,000 in 2 hours. Now, remember, folks, that's not powered by Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. That is powered by the people that are who drop super chats and also who are channel members. I am a retired dude, so I'm limited to the funds I have. But Mrs. Boomstick and I are, our first order of business is to give back as much as we can. And in regards to what your super chats and what your channel memberships are going to go to this particular year, we did announce a couple of weeks ago that we are going to purchase 15 copies of Stalker 2. And we're going to distribute those during a 1-hour live stream when the game is released. It's going to be a special a special podcast dedicated to the launch of the game. I've reached out to PR myself. I'm waiting for a response. I'm going to try and get 2 devs on to talk about the game, its development, and help us give these away. This is something that we want to do. We know, and if you're in the business of gaming, you understand that Microsoft is paid by said developer 30% of whatever it is that they make, and the team or the developer or the publisher get 70%. Mrs. Boomstick and I are buying 15 copies to make sure that the families of this team that has been displaced, that originally their studio was unbelievably affected due to the Ukraine war with Russia. They are currently housed in Prague, from what I understand, and they had to move their whole team, including their families. So we wanted to give back, the little guy giving back to the little guy, and we wanted to make sure that those families see their 70%, at least from us. It's going to be 15 copies that we're purchasing, and again, we're a small channel. We're trying to do something special, and we can only do that through the support of the people who have donated today and continue to donate on a regular basis. So a big thank you for that. Let's get to the outros. We'll start first with Web Dave. Talk about your last interview. Talk about where can people check out your incredible one-on-one interview channel, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Boom, thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed it, and chat was lively as ever today. Yeah, man. My last one was Lord Cognito. It was up last week, still up.
Who is that? Wait, I never heard of that guy.
Yeah, haven't heard of that guy. Oh, well, he sure praises you a lot. I'm just saying, he thanks you for getting where they're at. So yeah, but no, Lord Cognito is in there. He's that's a good one. There's over 50 interviews now with content creators and all kinds of content creators, including some Sony content creators. So no hating. I'm just saying it's I cover everybody. So it is awesome, and I appreciate the opportunity to interview these people. I'm going to be probably doing a improv 2 live stream probably in about an hour, just because I'm off today and I just want to talk more gaming. So if anybody's around, hit me up. My YouTube channel is Outbreak Gamers, and we'll get into some talking to the chat and see what we can come up with and have a little fun. There you go.
Love it, brother. Real quick, DRB 808 says, does being a troll mean that you're not allowed to have your own opinion if it conflicts with the show? No, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. You can have your opinion, but the trolls have limited lifespans on this program because I won't tolerate them.
Saying another company sucks or those kind of comments,
it's unnecessary, dude.
That's
it's not
allowed.
It's not. I'm sorry, it's not allowed, and I won't stand for it. Listen, this is a small channel. We're 300 and change away from 12K, and that may not mean a lot to you, but I stream 5 days a week. I work super ridiculous hard on this channel, and I want it to be a chat that invites people in to come and have a conversation. Now, trolls are going to be everywhere. But like for instance, when I say you have limited lifespan, it's the truth, because Lita Papa, who is one of our lead modders, gives you enough rope to or enough chances to to basically get yourself banned. And I
Enough
don't care
rope to
about
hang yourself. That's what you're
yeah,
going
no,
with.
no, I don't care about losing the sub. What I care about are the people here. Now, I'm very, very blessed with an audience that tunes in 500 plus per show. That's crazy for the size of the channel. So my job as a host is to make sure that when they're here, they can come out and hang out and have a good time, and not get and not get bothered. So if you become a bother, then you're just bounced. And if you give me the finger, well, that's fine. I don't care about your sub. What I care about is the people that come back each and every day to check out the stream. So I owe it to them to be a responsible host and keep assholes out of my chat. Now, if you want to hang out, by all means, hang out. If you want to be an asshole, well, then we'll just ban you. It's that simple. Everyone's opinion matters, but the way you conduct yourself is even more important. And like I said earlier, and I'll say it again, I will not allow that kind of behavior in my chat. Sorry. That's just the way it is. I owe it to my audience to be a better host. So with that said, Crazy Lou Gaming, let's get your opinion, brother. Let's talk about it. Your channel is incredible. The Xbox International Podcast has incredible hosts. You are one of the hosts. You work with a great team of people. Talk about who they are, where they can find them on and subscribe to your YouTube channel. But more importantly, reach out to you and strike up a conversation on social media.
Well, y'all can find me at Crazy Louie Gaming on Twitter, where I say good morning and do all sorts of cool stuff. Also, you guys can find me here at 12 p.m. noonish at Xbox Lunch Break Special with you, Mr. BoomStick, Mr. WebDip, and Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. And last but not least, Xbox International Podcast on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. ET with me, Silent Cypher, Sour Blow, and the Big Plume. See us there every Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Thank you. And listen, last but not least, Fuzzy Belvedere, this is gonna be a big year for your channel. Obviously, Forza coming out. You are probably one of the premier channels that I know of that covers anything and everything Forza. We know Motorsport is coming. We know the Forza-Tech Engine is going to be big. We also know that there's another huge update coming for Forza Horizon 5. That DLC, we don't know what it is. There's actually been not even any rumors as far as I know. Where can people subscribe to your incredible YouTube channel? And more importantly, find you on social media?
Oh, just want to thank you for having me on here. It's always great being on here for the Xbox Launch Race Special with you, Dave, and Crazy Lou. Man, just looking forward to this game, and I know there's a lot of other sim racing fans out there looking forward to Forza Motorsport coming here soon or sometime point this year. For anybody that wants to hear my ramblings on anything related to Forza or anything gaming in general, just follow me on social media, also including YouTube at Fuzzy_Belvedere. And you can also find me on FSP later tonight, 10 p.m. on Fun Speculations channel. Breakfast with Boom right here on this network at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Double Barrel Gaming. And then Xbox Ultimate Friday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. The Shop Podcast on Saturdays on PTK Blam's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then right back here on Xbox Lunch Break Special at 12 noon next Monday. Look forward to seeing you guys there. Thanks again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that, Crispy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for your new episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to hit the like button. If you did, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new and you're just finding the channel, don't hesitate to assist in getting us to 12K and hitting that subscribe button. And again, I apologize to anyone that feels I was being a little rude. I have my job as a host, folks, is to protect the people that come back each and every day. You want to come in, everyone, I said this, doesn't matter what console you play, you're welcome. Race, creed, color, sexual orientation, religion means nothing here. Come in, hang out, and chill. It's when you start being a rebel rouser that I allow for it only to go on so much, because again, you see, I'm here. I'm doing the chat. I'm reading the chat. I respond to everyone. I welcome everyone in here individually. It's a thing that I do. Not every host does that. So I'm really in tune to what is going on. I just ask that you be fair, you be reasonable, and you can have an opinion. Your opinions do matter here. It's when you start saying, ponies and bots and things of that nature. I don't like that banter. I'll read a chat that says it. I don't like it, but if someone puts it in, I'm going to read it, especially if it's a super chat. Unless it's unbelievably disrespectful, then I will just return the super chat and not read it at all. But I will say I appreciate all the views. I appreciate all the likes. And again, if you are interested in seeing and further content, I do stream 5 days a week, 5 different panels of different gamers, of different consoles, and every content that is done is well researched. Yes, do I get it wrong? Sure, but I do admit when I do get it wrong. And like I said, check out Double Barrel Gaming. You will not be disappointed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's show. But I do want to close out the show with something that is important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode, the Xbox Lunch Break Special.